in this particular demo, we're going to go ahead and create an Azure SQL database, and it will be a single database. So the first thing we need to do is search for Azure SQL. We're going to click the first option, so Azure SQL here. Next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and select create an Azure SQL resource. And as you can see, we've got the three options that are available. We've got the SQL database, the SQL managed instances, and we've got the SQL virtual machine. So we've got the infrastructure as a service, and then we've got the two platform as a service options that we do have. Now we need to go ahead and create a SQL database, and we're going to select single database. So let's go ahead and create that. Now what we need to do is go ahead and create our resource group. So in the skill pipe, it advises to give the name my resource group. Okay. Next, we need to go ahead and select the database name. So the database name given is my simple database. Okay. And we're gonna go and create a new server. So first and foremost, the server name is going to be MySQL Server. Okay, the specifics already in use. So as you can see, if the name provided in the skill pipe is not unique, just try and put maybe a number at the end. Okay, so I'm just going to put 09. It's already in use. And put random numbers. Okay. And next we need to leave the location as East US. In regards to authentication, you've got three different types. You've got the SQL authentication. You can use Azure Active Directory authentication, where you can just set the admin. You can then go ahead and use both if you would like to go ahead and do so. So according to the skill pipe, we are going to go ahead and server admin login. So the username is Azure user. And the password is something that we can create ourselves. So just go ahead and create a password that you can remember. Okay. Okay, there we go. So I believe we've got everything we need. We can just go ahead and select OK. And now we need to go ahead and create a SQL database. Okay, so let's just save. Let's go ahead and create our SQL database. So we're going to keep my resource group as the resource group. We've got my sample database as the name. You've got the server, and then you've got, if you want to go ahead and have a SQL elastic pool. Let's have a look at our options. Nope. So all we need to go ahead and do is make sure that we specify our compute and our storage. So according to the skill pipe, we're going to leave it as the default. However, if we was to go to configure databases, we have different type of options that are available. You've got the provisioned, and then you've got the serverless. So the serverless essentially just scales, provides you the option to be able to automatically scale based on your needs and your requirements and how much data is being stored. And of course, if you go over the limit of your data that's available to you, and the serverless will automatically go ahead and scale up or down. Let's have a look. Yeah, so you can, as you can see, you've got the hardware configuration. So this is the computer configurations. So we've got a Gen 5. You can go ahead and change it, and this will obviously give you your vCores and give you your gigabit of memory. And as you can see, you've got the option here to go ahead and save money and specifically select your vCores and data. Essentially creating a custom hardware configuration. I'm just going to click apply because I don't think we've made any changes. So let's go apply. And yeah, we've got our redundancies. So that you go your local, zonal, and your geo redundant storages. Now we have been specified and advised to go to networking. So let's go ahead and look at the network. You've got your public and your private endpoints, and you've obviously got your no access endpoints. So no endpoints available. So we are going to go ahead and select the public endpoint. After we select the public endpoint, we have the option to go ahead and add the current client's IP address. And what this does is it stores the IP address in which I am currently using in this session, to be able to allow me to access the firewall. Enable me to access the database. And this firewall rule that we have in place will recognize my client IP address as trusted. Okay, so next we can go to the security settings, and it's advising us to go to the additional settings where we will specify our sample. So here you have your data source. With your data source, you can use existing data if you want. We, for this demo, are going to use a sample database, and the sample database that is provided is the AdventureWorks LT. Next, we can just go ahead and review and create this. Okay, create. So this will go ahead and create our SQL database and our platform as a service SQL database options from the 3 that were available initially. And we're going to wait for this to deploy, and we're going to go ahead and query this database. So what I'm going to do is pause the video until that's complete. It can take a few minutes, so we'll wait for that to complete. That is now completed, so let's go to our resource. Now the next part of this demo, we need to go ahead and run a query. So when you go ahead and run a query, as you can see, you've got your SQL authentication or your Active Directory authentication, which you could have used. I believe we just have it as a SQL Server authentication. So go ahead and put your password that you created earlier. And as you can see, it's Azure user still the login. So let's go ahead and do that. And as you can see, you are now in the query. So now you can go ahead and query that particular database. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run a query. The query is provided to us. So let's just go ahead and run this particular query. And as you can see, the results you get at the bottom is as a result of the query. So you're going to select the top 20 names as a category and P name as a product name from this particular database. And as you can see, the rest you're going to go ahead and check that the results are from this particular query itself. Okay. So as you can see, we have completed our demo. We have successfully successfully deployed our SQL database, and we've configured our data, and we have gone ahead and logged in with our credentials, and finally we went ahead and queried our database. That is the end of our demo.